Hey guys, Brett from Stargers Gaming here with the fifth video in our Arma 3 modding tutorial series. I know it's been a while. I've pretty much given up playing Arma 3 at this point, partly because it's just too hard to find people to play with, and partly because I'm just tired of having to produce content for the game in order to find it enjoyable. Um, you know, it's kind of tiresome when I have to make every mission to play. I know there's some on Steam Workshop, but some of them are good, some aren't. I don't feel like sitting there and play testing them to figure out if it's what I want or what it's not. So the only time I ever feel comfortable playing a user-made mission in Arma 3 is when I make it myself. And obviously that's a lot of work, and with nobody to, or at least not very many people to play them with, it's just kind of lost some of its enjoyability. But this was a much requested video on how to do backpacks, how to configure them, how to get them in the game. And so that's part of the reason why I'm kind of doing this so far from the last one, is I'd basically given up on the series, but since so many people were asking for this, I decided to go ahead and make this. And it's not very hard. Backpacks are actually really easy to do. I'll show you really quickly, but before I do that, I want to start the same way that I started the others and do a little bit of a tutorial with the template on how I retexture them. I'll obviously include the template so that if you guys don't want to make one from scratch, you can use mine. And so here it is. I've got all of the lining and the zippers and stuff cut out. Let me zoom in slightly so you can see a little bit better. So the zippers, all that stuff is still here. We've just got like the basic kind of cloth exposed. And so I'm going to take the camouflage that we've been using, which is this one here I found online. And let's bring this back up. And so obviously we just need to kind of make this fit this area. So let's do that. And we want this to be, actually that's not going to work, is it? You know what, we'll try, let's try. And I'll just, yeah, there we go. So at least it'll be somewhat proportional. And we want that underneath. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to layer this down. So we'll go layer, merge down. Now this is all on one layer, and we'll just take it, we'll go layer, transparency, color to alpha. And let's start with the gray and see how that looks. So that's too dark. There's two ways we could do this. We could either redo it, or we could try to balance the darkness and the contrast with this as it is. I'm just going to go ahead and start over. We'll do the same thing, color to alpha. This time we're going to go with a lighter color and see how that looks. So that's darker. So let's go with a darker color this time and see how that looks. And so we'll go like, not quite black, but we'll go with like 2A, 2A, 2A. And so that's way too light. So obviously it's going to be somewhere between that one and the first one we tried. So let's go with like maybe that. And that's a little bit too dark. So let's bring it back just slightly. And then we will kind of fine tune it from there. So I'm going to try 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. That's not too bad, but the camouflage doesn't look very good. So let's go into brightness and contrast. And so that's going to affect... You know what? It might be easier to do this. Let's start over. So now we're back with these as two separate layers. And what we'll do here is I'm actually going to darken this up beforehand. And so let's go into, I guess we'll do it this way. And we want to bring it darker, but not too dark. So let's go, I think that looks about right. And then we'll make the contrast just slightly higher. And let's try that now. Color to alpha. And so that's looking better, but now I think it's a little bit too dark. So I'm gonna go back, and we're gonna have to move this over once again. So let's try like 2F, and that's too light. So you know what we can do? There's another way to do this. Instead of going to color to alpha, we can adjust the opacity here. And I think that's going to be the better way to go, because when you color to alpha, it sets it to a certain opacity, and that's all you can do. You can adjust how bright or how dark, but you can't adjust how transparent the image is, or at least the layer. And so what we can do here is, rather than doing it that way, we can play with this and kind of adjust it to where we want. And I think that looks pretty good right there. So 77, and maybe let's go to 75, just because I like, well, I guess that's not an even number, but I like even numbers and multiples of 5. So let's try this. Obviously, if you want it a little bit more precise, you can tweak it from there, but I'm probably just going to leave it right here. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to save this so that you guys can take a look at it for yourselves. And let's export it to our tutorial files thing, backpack template, that's fine. And, oh, I need that. Yeah, export. Remember, we're always working with PNGs. And that's about all I need those for right now. So let's go into tutorial files. And there it is, backpack template. So let's open this up in text view 2. And save it as the same thing, but we want it as a .paa. And so now the game will be able to recognize this, and I think that looks pretty good. You can still see the stitching. The camouflage has a nice contrast to it. There's a nice, I don't know what to call it. I'm no artist, but there's a nice, amount of difference between the dark brown and the light brown. And I think overall, the tones seem to match the tone of what's already there pretty well. So let's cut this, and we want to go in here and into our data folder and paste it. And now I already have it named slightly different, so we're going to rename this to pack_compact_co. We'll delete that. And so we want pack_compact_co. And remember, that's using proper naming convention, where this is a texture. It's not like a normal map or anything, so we're using this CO designation on there. And so now that this is in a PAA, the game will be able to read it. That's about all we need to do there. Let's go into the config really quickly before I repack this, just so I can show you guys what's changed. And so the biggest difference is just going to be this little thing right here, and I've thrown it right after the 3 soldiers and right before the vehicles. And so I think I mentioned this in the vehicle retexture tutorial. These class names need to be here because that's essentially defining, remember, so our custom off-road is a subset of B_G_offroad01_F, which is this class right here. The game recognizes as the off-road truck without the weapon. And so what we're telling it here is that this is part of this, which it already knows. So we're doing the same thing here. We're saying, hey, remember B Assault Pack Base? Well, our custom backpack compact is part of B Assault Pack Base. And so what it's going to do is it's just going to take the Assault Pack Base, which is, you'll see it in a second. And obviously this class can be changed to whichever pack you want. Obviously my template won't work for you if you're going to do that, because you'll want to use whichever backpack texture reflects the backpack you're using. But this is going to take the mass, the capacity, all of those things from the regular Assault Pack and just apply them directly to this one, but with our texture. And so I've got the display name set as custom backpack compact. Obviously you can change that to whatever you like. Picture here. This is for the menu or the in-game UI. Obviously if you're making something that you want to publish, you should probably change those. Even if you're not, it might be nice just to throw something in there so that there's a placeholder for it. But again, I made a UI folder in the template files that you can throw that in there, and then put the file name right here between the quotes, and that should be all you need. And then hidden selection textures, this is going to be the file directory to our pack compact CO that we just put in there. And so that's pretty much it for getting the backpack in the game. Then what you want to do is under one of these soldiers, doesn't matter which, you can do it for all of them, you can do it for one of them. You need backpack equals, and then the class name with the underscores, not the display name, the class name, right here. And then close it with parentheses. And that's all you need. So let's save this in case we didn't already, and close that. Now this should be good to go. Let's go ahead and pack this into a PBO. And I don't need this anymore. That's the old one from last time. And so here's the new one. Let's copy this, and we'll go into our add-ons folder. Remember, we're in Arma 3, add-ons, at custom uniform, add-ons, custom uniform.pbo, and we'll paste this and copy and replace. And so now we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and hop in game and check it out, make sure we did it right. And I'm going to close GIMP just so my frame rate doesn't suck too bad. And now if you're using the Arma 3 launcher, make sure you've got add-ons at custom uniform here. If you're doing it some other way, or if you're not sure how, refer back to my first video. I show you how to set up your custom mod files. So let's go ahead and launch. And hopefully this doesn't take too long. I haven't run the game in a while, but there hasn't been any updates or anything, so I don't think it'll take too much longer. And I'm only running one add-on, so it shouldn't need to load very much. But yeah, we'll get in. I'm going to show you first that it's in the virtual arsenal, and then second we'll look at it in the editor. Hopefully this doesn't take much longer. Yeah, I've noticed my frame rate in this game, especially when I'm trying to record, is just garbage. And it doesn't matter what I set the graphics options to. This game is just so poorly optimized that regardless of what kind of computer you're running, what you have the settings to, it's completely arbitrary whether or not it's going to look good or not. But it doesn't seem too bad. The mouse isn't like lagging at all. So let's go into the Learn tab and into the virtual arsenal. And again, this is a nice way to make sure that your files are working, but it's not very trustworthy as far as appearance goes. So backpack, and we'll scroll down, custom backpack compact, and there it is. So it's in, it's working. Now let's go into the editor and make sure it's working properly there, and we'll get a better idea of how it looks in game. And we'll just go to Stratus, because again, I don't like the lighting in the virtual settings. The fluorescent lighting is just too hard to gauge how it'll actually look on the map. So we'll just load up Stratus, and now there's two places we want to check this. First is going to be on whichever soldier you placed it on. So for me, that was under my custom faction, under men, and it was on the custom combat lifesaver. And so I'll put him down as player. And then there's one other place. If you go to empty and into backpacks, it should show up there as well. So there it is, custom backpack compact. And I'll just place it on the ground in front of me so we can make sure it's there. And let's go and preview. And so obviously, this is from the vest earlier. I'm not sure. Sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why it's doing that. But that vest works fine. So let's go into third person, and yeah, there it is. It looks okay. Maybe the contrast needs to be a little bit higher. And personally, I would maybe stretch the camouflage a little bit more, because it looks like it's a slightly smaller pattern than the vest, and it might be cool to try to match the size roughly. But yeah, I think it looks fine. And obviously it's working, so That's good. And then let's look at them on the ground. There it is. And then if you go into the menu, here it is. There's no picture for it, obviously, but you can move it around, drop it on the ground, and now it's on the ground. So that's pretty much it. If you want to do different backpacks, you need to change the class name for the, well, let's go back into, let me exit this, and we'll go back into our text editor really quickly. Again, I'm not using a basic text editor. I recommend, if you're going to be doing a lot of this, to use, I'm using Poseidon that you can find on Armaholic. Any text editor that can highlight syntax for you is going to be really useful. But again, I recommend this one. And this is a custom version of, I forget what it's called. But it's called Poseidon on Armaholic. And it's like a customized version of Smart Text or something. But yeah, if you want to use a different backpack, all you're going to need to change is this right here and this right here. And so if you want to do the big one, you know, be carry-all base, be kit bag base for the medium one, assault pack, blah, blah, blah. You can find the class names online, but that will need to change. It'll also need, obviously, if you're going to change it there, change it here. And then you'll probably want to change this name because this is referring to the compact one, the assault pack. If you were doing the carry-all, I'd do custom backpack carry-all. And then the display name obviously will need to reflect that, and then, you know, whatever you want to call the texture file. And so yeah, that's all you need to do to get the backpacks in game. This class name doesn't need to be here. It could also be up here, or, you know, it doesn't need to be before this though, so you can't put it after. But I like to keep these grouped with the things they belong to. And so, you know, all the ones that reflect vehicles are down with the vehicles, backpack with the backpack, and the soldier up with the soldiers. But yeah, that is going to be it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that really helped for all of you guys that requested how to do backpacks in Arma 3. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I will see you back here for maybe part 6. I don't know if I'm going to do one yet. I talked about doing like how to hex edit older .p3d models to get them to work for Arma 3 retexturing. I don't know if I will. That one kind of runs into like a gray area of like modding etiquette and stuff like that, because you're taking older game files that weren't made for Arma 3 and like kind of forcing them into Arma 3. But a lot of people do use them. If you look at any mod with the ESS goggles, those are a pretty good example. A lot of the larger faction mod packs, like the Marines ones and the Navy SEAL ones, will include headgear either from Arma 2 or a different version of Arma that has been, you know, ported. And if you try to do the retexturing this way, it won't work. And so the way I'm talking about is really the only way to do that. But again, the licensing stuff, the copyright stuff, it gets kind of, you know, like a gray area, if not like a black area. So I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but it's something that I've found really useful when I was making mod packs, or not mod packs, sorry, that's Minecraft. When I was making faction mods for people, because frankly, it's really the only way to spice up the different equipment in your mod without completely building new models yourself, which, you know, I know a little bit of modeling. I taught myself Blender, but not a lot of people do. And, you know, if you're just trying to do a quick retexture for your clan or whatever, it's probably not realistic to try that. So I might do it, I might not, I don't know yet. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope this really helped.